The NHS don't have oversight of their project workforce across different trusts and organisations. They don't know if they have the right people working in the right places with the right skills. What they want are visual, actionable insights into their workforce data. They also want an idea of how a resource management system can be created to identify skilled workers and to plan for upskilling. We took a top-down approach. We started with the desired outcome, understanding the demand/capacity and getting insights into employee characteristics to identify risks and opportunities. We engaged throughout with our NHS colleagues to understand their strategic outcomes and help them develop a framework and flexible tool to address these. We used open source and NHS data to identify trends. For flexibility and future, we documented a structured framework to easily input data and embed insights into the toolkit and provided next steps for future.
The final set of insights we'd like to show you relate to the distribution of senior managers across the organisation. On the left-hand side of this tab, we have two quite simple charts. The one below shows how this is now split out by different location types. And this can be used by someone in the healthcare sector to understand the distribution of the workforce in a particular location, and whether we're perhaps oversubscribed or undersubscribed for particular work types. But what we really want to show you is this graph on the right. But what it shows is the distribution of senior managers to non-senior managers for different locations. On the horizontal axis here, you can see the percentage of senior managers. And on the vertical axis, you can see the percentage of not senior managers. So for example, at this outlier here, what we can see is that for this particular site, 88% of the workforce is made up by senior managers. There might well be valid reasons for this, but one of the things that stands out to me is that a high proportion of senior managers to a low proportion of non-senior managers does beg the question of whether the workforce is optimally distributed. What you're looking at here is the output of actually a number of different pieces. Understanding what the distribution of our managers, senior managers, and officers look like across the organisation, but then contrasting that with what we expect the demand for those roles to be in light of the projects that the NHS is expected to undertake over the coming years. The way that an operative would use this kind of dashboard is they would observe that for whatever skill level you selected and for whatever job type you selected, you will get a sense of, okay, here's the number of managers that we have, but here's the number that's required. And quickly they'll be able to see, okay, we have a strong deficit in this particular case in the manager role. But what we do have is excess capacity in senior managers, in the number of officers and other, which then enables them to take business decisions around how they manage talent, such as could we repurpose some senior managers into manager roles? Are there officers that might like to take a step up? So we can now begin to fill a resource gap without having to look externally. Bringing that all together, we want to present a temporal view of demand and capacity. What you can see here across the horizontal axis is how the workforce was distributed over time. The most important element, though, is to focus on this halfway point. This shows the level of baseline demand that we expect with business as usual. So anything that we can see here in green shows that we were well resourced. We actually had excess capacity for the demand that was placed on the system. And you can see that throughout 2019, we were well resourced. 2020 was a bit tougher. 2021 initially looks great. But as we go on, the picture gets a little bit more concerning. And we can start to see that the demand that we have for work exceeds our capacity to supply it. If you're an NHS user, this can provide you with an evidence base to justify things such as new recruitment plans or even upskilling from other departments.
What you see here is the front-end development output, a talent management tool that can be used to shortlist candidates for upcoming projects based on different suitability parameters. This complements the capacity demand tool, whereby HR can move from a higher level business case to a project-by-project resource management and decision-making capacity. This decision diagram here presents the back end of the demo I just showed you. It can be used by the NHS IT and data science teams to write an algorithm that can be used to develop the talent management tool and bring it to life. To link our insight dashboards and capacity demand tool to their live corporate systems, to collect and collate all projects across the NHS to inform the capacity demand tool for forecasting, to commission exploratory development of the talent management tool. For most functions, a Power BI server linked to the enterprise HR system would be needed. We know that the NHS use Power BI after consulting with them. For demand forecasting, protocols for Master Excel workbook management would be required. For the talent management tool, SQL and Python would be needed to write the algorithm. In terms of operational resources, for most functions, user PMO and data science teams would be required. For the talent management tool, a DevOps team. In terms of management, for the two tools, central project management office team, and for data insights, a reporting team would be needed. Throughout these processes, people with analytical, coordination, reporting, and user interface design skills would be required. We would host a deep dive starter session with the subject matter experts and with other hack teams to explore what the problem is in detail. This would help us frame the challenge in the context of the end business outcome with the input of challengers, which would help them understand. It would also help us understand and achieve their goals more efficiently. The other thing we would change is data availability. We understand data anonymization is important, but we would make sure to ask for metadata in advance and for reasonable anonymization of data so that we could do more data exploration without having to rely on us creating dummy data sets. This would have saved us a lot more time.